Okay, try to catch my breath. I think the best way to do until I get something else set up is to turn it upside down for me. And let's see if I can work through this upside down. My name is Deborah Detter, and I'm here to show you a journal that I've created, and I'm so very excited about it. My inspiration is from Gina at the Bookery. Everybody probably knows her, and if you don't, you really should stop by and see her and her journals. She does some fabulous work, creates great journals, just beautiful, one-of-a-kind creations. I've always loved books, and being a school teacher myself, retired now, but have always loved books since I was a little kid. So when I saw some of Gina's videos and things that she had created with her repurposing of old books, it just struck me that's what I need to do. That's what I want to do. I had already started making some just basic journals for my use. Well, you can only make so many journals, use so many journals at one time, and I thought, well, I've got so much stash now, I've been doing collecting of this stuff for quite a while. It's time to get some created and out for people to hopefully take into their own homes and use and love and do what you want to with. But I started, this is my first big 5-ring binder journal. It's a Better Homes and Gardens book, and it was copyrighted in 1951. Now, you will see things that are similar to Gina in the Rebookery or other people on YouTube that make these, but I've got my own, I've put my own little spin on it, of course. A lot of vintage stuff. I tried to use some of the papers that were original to the book along with new, modern, current, up-to-date items. So, but I will try to point things out, what's vintage, what's new, as we go through the flip through. This is something that I found. I remember having as a kid, the little Fisher-Price desk and with the words, and you put the magnet letters in, and I made it a pocket, and you can slip this card out. So it says rain helps flowers grow, so I thought that would be cute for this garden journal. One of the very first things that I found when I first started collecting and adding to my stash to create journals was this set of vintage name badges, little stick-on name badges by Avery. Don't know the date on those, but they're very old. I mean, look at the olive green, the red, the gold. I've reinforced any of the original book pages. I went ahead and reinforced for you, even if they looked good. I just did it because they are a little delicate and don't want you to have to worry about that. So that's been reinforced. The first section, I added a multiplication card. This was a set that's back from 1975, Milton Bradley flashcards. So I just added a little pull tab of some fabric on there. Little vintage Robin playing card I found at a thrift shop. And I'll try to go through this pretty fast instead of dilly-dallying too much. Guest check, not vintage. Vintage fabric sewn on the top though. These were quilt. Oh, let me go grab one and show you quickly. I got these from a lady at a yard sale. I'll be right back. They had unfortunately had to put her into a home. She was by herself, and she had boxes and boxes of lace, trims, ribbons, quilt tops, pieces she had started with, all kinds of fabrics and textiles. This was one of the sets that I got from her, and she had these, you know, I guess they'd be like a wedding ring quilt eventually one day. So I pulled a few sections off of that and used that fabric in here. Oh, by the way, this one is bead sack material, that little tab. Each section follows the same kind of pattern. So we'll start with scrapbook paper that has had some kind of journaling space added on the edge. I've sewn that, stitched it together, usually with some kind of embellishment. These are just cut out flowers I've cut out. Then the next section is that same paper with the bottom folded up into a pocket. So in this pocket you've got a doily, a little booklet, and 2 vintage pages from the book, original pages from the book, which is vintage. Okay, the book, these are greenhouse cards, and I was lucky enough to come across one set that was full, that was at a price I could afford. I took some vintage wallpaper I actually got from Gina at the Rebookery from one of her packs. I was lucky enough to snag one of those and use that as my binding method, and just sewed the front card on and added some pages of parchment and grid paper inside for you to do some journaling. There's the back of that page. Okay, envelopes. Every section will have an envelope. Here are all of the other envelopes. Different sizes, different patterns. Here's the rest, and I think there's I thought there was one more. It might still be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It may still be in the book. Anyway, I have not finished stuffing these yet, and I'm not going to and show you on the video. I thought that'd be fun, you know, a fun thing for you to look forward to if you purchase the book, for you to have a little surprise. So, but I will show you what's in the very first pocket. I've got vintage Monopoly money. This is from a game dated 1971. So we've got, you know, one piece of all of the money denominations. And then I found on eBay these cool little cards. They give you a definition on one side and the Japanese or Chinese version and characters, and how to step-by-step create that character on the back. Those are some fun little things. I'm going the wrong way. Original book page that's been reinforced. Grid paper that I have backed with vintage wrapping paper to make it a little thicker, because that's quite thin. I've just embellished it with some, I love Monopoly money. Monopoly money. 2 little bows up here. The vintage wrapping paper you'll see, I believe all that I've used in this book is from, oh wait, I have it written down. Pumpkin truck paper. Pumpkin truck paper on eBay. Or was it Etsy? I don't know. Pumpkin truck paper. That's where it came from though. I believe it was eBay. Original book page. On the back I have added a little journaling spot and some vintage tickets I got from the Brown Pair. I love her little shop on, that is Etsy. She has some really cute stuff. And then little flower I cut out of a lace like chain of flowers. I don't know if you can see that very well. There we go. Maybe I just need something to prop this up. Let's use the flashcards. Maybe that's a little better. Okay, this is my favorite, what's next. This is a page a pocket that got created a little by accident. But anyway, see, you can save everything. Mistakes can turn into something very cute. Turns out now this is my favorite piece. I made a pocket out of it to salvage my mistake. And inside, I created just a little card, rounded the corners, and added this little ribbon embellishment at the top and side, and a little flat paper flower embellishment. And I embellished along the edge of the pocket opening with some of my favorite trim. The back is plain except for a ribbon embellishment at the top. Throughout the book, I have added bits and pieces of the Tale of Peter Rabbit throughout on these little cards. They're different sizes. The story is not complete. It doesn't have every single little verse with the picture, but the ones that are in here are in order, along the way. So, and then I'll show you what I do with the leftover pieces at the end. So this is the beginning of the story. Mother Rabbit is going away and telling them to be good little bunnies. On the back, just some cute lace trim. I have a few just little cards with either inspirational phrase or words of encouragement, and I've added several of the embellished paper clips. This page, the back has a library book pocket that flips down, and a peach library card that comes out for journaling. Next section, got a guest check on the front that's been embellished with some lace, and journaling down the side. The back that was stitched together with a floral embellishment. And then this pocket has a little booklet with some tea stain paper and lined paper that is from a vintage journal. There. This is paper that I watercolored on, or it may have been my Distress Oxides. I think it was Distress Oxides that I was playing around with and did the smash and drag like Dee Dee Willingham does. Anyway, I trimmed it with some aqua ribbon and a little button, 3 doilies, and an original book page that I sewed some trim to up at the top, just to give it something pretty. Tuck that in there. Scrapbook paper, original reinforced book page, ledger paper with lace trim down the side, original book page reinforced, and the back has this really pretty blue leaf ribbon embellishment. It's parchment paper, ivory parchment paper. And then the next Peter Rabbit card is here. He's slipping away through the gate. And on the back, it has ticket from the brown pair and just a little piece of muslin to help embellish that. Oval doily, I absolutely love that, with a blue sheer ribbon and some more of that blue leaf ribbon or trim. This page has 2 vintage floral cards that you put in the little envelopes to write on, sign your name when you send flowers. I found those on Etsy, I believe, and I cannot remember who I got them from, unfortunately. Little embellished paper clip there. And then another one of the vintage flashcards, and a little bow tie, or just pink bow paper clip. Some stamps. They're fruits I embellished this sewing with. The pocket that is sewn in on this page, in that pocket I put another greenhouse card. It's a cactus, and on the back, this one has three sheets from a stenographer's pad, and at the top I've embellished with some of that flower trim that I adore. And then this is some very old vintage, I guess, cookbook recipe paper. I believe I got it from Diane at the Pretty Pink Cottage. Everybody knows Diane. She does journals. Has an Etsy shop. I believe that's where that paper set came from. Embellished paper clip. And on the back, we have an embellished guest check. And original book page that's been reinforced. Ledger paper trim. And I've tried to leave a lot of space for you to write, embellish, you know, add your own things, do your own art on. Sort of like Gina, I don't like I mean, I love the heavily decorated ones. They are absolutely gorgeous. But I feel like that wouldn't be my book or your book if you were to buy this. I want it to be your book, and I want you to decorate it the way you want it decorated, not the way I would decorate it necessarily. I know there are certain circumstances where it does help people, or maybe they just like that, and that's fine. Everybody's different. That's what's so beautiful about art and this type of thing, and all of us offering such different products, is that, you know, there's something hopefully out there for everyone, you know, to fit their needs. So anyway, I'm not a heavy on the decorating part. Like, one thing I made for the journal myself was this tag, and it's vintage music paper that I had. Well, I opened up the music book, and this fell out. It looks to me like an old Beacon's label. It was barely sticky on the back. You know, I guess you would slap it on your package or box when you were packing up and moving, or you know, it could be being mailed a parcel. There was that anyway, brown Beacon's piece of a tag left in there, so I stuck it on this card. Just figured they've been together for however long, they may as well stay together. And then happened to find this little label, House and Garden, and decided I'd embellish the tag with that. So that goes in this pocket, and then this actually opens up. This is a vintage form from a hospital in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which is kind of cool because that's where my husband's from. But it's where the doctor can write some information, I think, about meds or whatever. And anyway, I luckily came across a nice little stash of these. So I just folded it so you'd have a flip. And then on this side, I used a very wide lace trim that I found at a yard sale to make, you know, the pockets. And on this side, on the back, I put I think vintage bingo card and a very vintage bingo card. The blue one obviously is vintage. It's already yellowed, and I have not you know, trimmed around any of these items with ink to make them look vintage. It's just the way it is. If it looks that way, great. If not, it'll get that way, or you could choose to do it yourself. Original book page, backed with a piece of parchment and a little green ticket that I actually had myself. A little piece of ribbon. The next piece of the Peter Rabbit story. He's jumping into a little watering can, and this is my favorite trim, if you can't already tell. The little blue leaves, just love them, so I've put them everywhere. I had to stop myself. It was a little too much. And on the back of that, I placed a vintage canasta score sheet that I just recently found on Etsy. I was going to show you the cover because I even like the cover, but here it is. Let's see if it has a date on it. Look, dropping stuff. See, canasta score pad. No. No date that I can see. But you know, you can look at it, the yellowing of the pages. It's old. Really cute, really cool. So it's a good place to journal. This divider has an inspirational quote. That side's plain. The top of this divider for the next section is one of my favorite vintage playing cards. I just love the colors on it, and I just embellished it with a piece of sari silk ribbon. And the next page. This page is actually from a Victorian the Victorian Garden, a book in there. I just thought that picture was stunning. And I needed to strengthen this. This scrapbook paper wasn't quite as sturdy as the others that I had been using. So, this pocket holds another greenhouse card that I embellished with a little flower and a piece of my painty paper on the back and some purple trim and a piece of vintage ledger paper. There's the back of that scrap paper. Original book page that's been reinforced. Monopoly money embellishment along with the flower that I fussy cut. And I backed that with some vintage, my favorite piece of vintage wrapping paper. It's so bright. I just think it's adorable. So cute. And I love the orange, the pink, and the yellow together. So I've got a little flower there and some more Monopoly money. Original book page with stenographer paper that's old and piece of green. Looks like almost like a canvas type ribbon. And then another Peter Rabbit story section with a little flower on the top and the little scalloped lace trim. Love this square doily. The doilies came from I think Denise at A Tattered Dream. Isn't it amazing when you get on here, you have stuff written down and then you can't find it? Yeah, Miss Denise at A Tattered Dream, and I'm sure everybody knows her. This is a piece of feed sack that I found at a local antique mall type thing, thrift shop. Not really a thrift shop, they're an antique mall. Yeah, they would probably die if they knew I had called them a thrift shop. Okay. Then this section is the matching to the robin card up at the front is the cardinal and some tags. I just added some sari silk ribbon as, you know, that little thing. And then this is one of my favorite scrapbook papers with vintage ledger sheets on the side sewn on. This is wallpaper that I got from Gina at the Rebookery in one of her packs. I was lucky enough to score. Here's another piece of it that I used as the binder on this little booklet. And inside is, I'm recording. Who's here? Okay. No, I just want to let you know. Okay. Inside the book, I have grid paper and parchment paper for you to journal in. I love the glitter washi down the sides. That happened because of a mistake I made. And see, I was able to salvage and fix it. And it works. I like it. Hope you do too. Original book page that's been reinforced. Ledger with rickrack. Original paper reinforced with parchment on the back. And pink sheer ribbon. Now, this Peter Rabbit page, my box is sliding, is a little different. I cut a little notch in the top, hopefully, so you will notice it's a pocket. And I've added inside the pocket parts, leftover parts from the story. So the only one that really has text on it is this one. I liked it because it's Once Upon a Time. And then there, you know, some of the pictures you only get a part of. But it turned out nice that you have the front with a picture and the back. So whoever gets this journal could actually choose which side they liked and use them to embellish your own journaling. I thought that turned out really nice. Well, the back of that one doesn't have one, but anyway. I was glad I thought to save those and put them in, pop them in here. Okay, and the back is trimmed with just a piece of ribbon. This side has like an accounting type sheet. That's from A Tattered Dream, also from Denise. This side, another shop you might want to check out is Zoe's Old Shop on Etsy. This is what her card looks like. Hey, I'm recording. Zoe's Old Shop. But anyway, you can just, you know, look her up on, you can find her easily on Etsy. And I found some vintage playing cards from her. This is one of them, and got the set of 5 that she had available of her gardening. Isn't that the cutest? Anyway, I stuck a pink library card there. Okay. And then I sewed vintage ledger paper onto this scrapbook paper. And on the back, this one's a little different. I think this is one of the first pages that I did. I ended up with this wide place gap here. Not a gap, but flat. There you go. And so I just stuck an alteration tag in there. And then the pocket from the corresponding scrapbook page, I just embellished with a little flower that you've seen earlier in there, and added 2 original book pages. There's the back. I thought that was pretty with this paper. Original book page reinforced. Ticket embellishment, flower embellishment on grid. This is a vintage wrapping paper with embellished with Monopoly money from the 70s and fussy cut flowers. I thought this page was gorgeous. It looks like, I don't know my trees, and I probably shouldn't say, but it looks like a dogwood maybe. Anyway, it's gorgeous, whatever it is. It's been reinforced. And on the back is this beautiful stationery that I found in, oh Lord, the dumpiest of dumps of a thrift shop. It's a junk shop, really. Yeah. It's the kind you go into and when you come out, everything has grit on it and you have, ugh. Anyway, but it did have some treasures, so I was glad I stopped. Anyway, they had this beautiful stationery set. It feels like rice paper maybe, embellished with some ribbon. The last of the Peter Rabbit story. And it doesn't end with him at home, but it ends with him getting safe. He safely got out of the garden, and Mr. McGregor goes ahead with putting up his scarecrow there. And on the back is vintage ledger paper I've sewn on, and a piece of, embellished it with some, silk ribbon. And I decided to put one more of the dividers in. I had, there's several left over. And I took, made a flap, tip-in, whatever flap, out of one of the flashcards. And added a little piece of the fabric from my yard sale lady on there. Then the very back, I had a very hard time deciding what to do with the back. I finally decided, I came across a roll of wallpaper that I knew was not vintage probably, but in looking over the label, I found out it did come from France. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So we have French wallpaper now. I have French wallpaper. To me, it looks kind of like maybe the 80s, probably, that time period. Anyway, found me some trim at Tuesday morning that actually looks vintage. It's not, but it just kind of, to me, has that look. And inside the pocket, I put some cool stuff. I made a little notepad out of vintage ledger paper, new note paper, some of my painty papers, tea stain paper, and so on. Just a fun little place for you to jot things down. It does have notes stamped up at the top, but it's kind of hard to see. And I did the binding with some of the Monopoly money. And then the coolest thing, I think, is, let's take that back out. Well, let's see. First of all, we have a vintage, an original book page. It is adhered to the back and will not come up. So I just put that there for decoration, and I embellished it with some sheer ribbon and tickets from the Brown Pair. But my favorite thing in the book is this, and I'm having a hard time parting with this, but I'm going to, or else I'll just continue to hoard it. This is from, let me pull it out because the date was actually on the inside. Okay, it says that it's an embroidery and applique transfer. It's from Simplicity. The entire sheet is here. I don't think she ever used it. And it's dated, 1945, so I would call that vintage. Yeah, but see, it has the blue print for you to iron on and transfer that design, and then you could embroider it on your little tea towels or whatnot. Yeah, hating to part with this, but I'm going to. So whoever gets the journal will be lucky enough to have this really cool 1945 Simplicity pattern set. And it apparently cost 15 cents back in the day. Yeah, really. Oh, and the directions are on the back. But you could make this a pocket, or cut it up and collage with the fruits and all on the cover, whatever you'd like to do. Now let's see. It's hard working upside down, guys. There we go. Pop that in there, and the little notepad. And like I said, I've got to finish filling up. There's 6 envelopes that I handmade out of scrapbook paper, and add those in, one in each section. Get those done, and it'll be ready to go. The outside is sealed with satin varnish. It has been cleaned. Let me make sure I'm not pulling on anything. So if you would like to take this, have it sent to your house to use, I would be so excited for it to go to its new home. Just come by and take a look at my Etsy shop, which is called theBeaufortBelle. It's all one word. TheBeaufortBelle. And I'll get me a little sign made so I don't have to spell that out every time. And if I get my daughter to help me, maybe I can put the link to the Etsy shop down below. So anyway, thanks for taking a look, and see you again soon. Bye.